Never fuck with the Pisces, but I look quick. We could change shape in a tick. With a broken heart and nights apart, I'm wide awake and I'm just still thinking about you, baby. I've been doing all I can, baby. I'm not built to fight like on the daily, but you know I just need a little training, and now I'm a little too much. We get stuck in this place where I'm lost without a chase, but I can't seem to find one.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know that that's so true when they say that. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is who the hell is taking a look on that side or taking a listen to what the hell's going on, because that is how the sequencing of this event actually works. Anyways, today is Wednesday, February the 1st of 2023, day 32. Yes, we are finally out of that sequence of saying the same thing over and over again. Day 32 of the year, and only 333 days left to go. Now, remember today that we're talking about this because, listen, in no time-o, we're going to realize right away that things have flown by. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues that have been, that do stuff at that other side of the equation that we do things at.
If you think local radio sucks, wait till you hear our free-form station, Radio Big.
Yes, good old Radio Big. Yes, we get to hang out with those people over there because, they're a fun bunch. Yeah, they're a fun bunch is what I like to say. Anyways, if you want to interact with the show, it's kind of a simple process of doing so. All you have to do is the following. It's simple. Let's take a listen. You go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That gets you into the multiverse inside of here. You can video chat, audio chat, or even just send a text message. My preferred method, just in case. And then we get to interact a little bit on what is going on. There is some visual components to this thing. So if you want to do the visual radio side of the house, you can do that by just going into safety.fm or safetyfm.com or going to radiobig.fm and click on the section that says visual radio. Yes, you can realize on the torture that we put people through by looking at this visually, because not really a lot of things go on. With that being said, let's talk about this. Did not realize yesterday on how many people were going to jump onto the website to give a little download-y-ody of our little sign. I didn't realize that our little sign was going to become so popular. Yes, it's safetyfm.com /I am not. Yeah, our little sign that a lot of people seem to enjoy, and discover yesterday. So, yep, there you go. Thanks for taking a view, taking a download-y-ody of it, because, hey, that's the thing. I'm sure we'll make some kind of social media post about it at some point in my lifetime, because that's what we do around here. So, yes, I am not speaking at. Don't join me. Yes, all the kind of fun stuff that we like to talk about. So thanks for people who took the download of the damn thing. Kind of some fun times as we are doing. Maybe I should put some kind of QR code there. Who knows? Anyways, you know how it goes. Anyways, let's talk real quick about what we do here. We talk about safety in the news and safety. So we talk about the sequencing of everything that's going on inside of this multiverse of ours, because I think that that's kind of important. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk also as well about the things that are going on inside of here. And then we give you a big bow and then package the whole thing. If you had headphones on, sorry about that, because that's a terrible sound to make with headphones. We do the sequencing, we do everything, and we get you going with what is going on inside of the world. We'll do some level of a main story. That way we can talk about what's going on in the middle portion of the sequence of events. So don't worry about that, because that's what we do around here. We try to make it fun, kind of keep it lighthearted, and we make fun of a lot of people. Yes, and things, and the industry, and even poke fun at ourselves. Because listen, poking fun at yourself is a good time. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people are kind of like, I can't do that. Oh, I do it all day, every day. Meaning the poking of the fun, not poking at other people. But anyways, with that being said, let's talk real quick about what we have going on today for you and what was trending, because that's going to be important. So we do the trends and we do what's going on, because it's kind of a combination of stuff to talk about. So let's do that right now on what's happening.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so this is what was trending. The last 747 to be built takes off. We're going to talk about that because that was trending yesterday. And Netflix starts its password crackdown, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, because people were starting to see that. President Joe Biden would rather do business with the Chinese government than the natural resources here in the United States. We'll talk a little bit about that if we decide to get swampy, because people were talking about that. Also, Alec Baldwin has officially been charged with the Fatal Rush shooting, and Fall Out Boy is talking about going on tour. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, James Gunn and Peter Safran have shared their game plan for the next few years of DC multiverse. So we'll talk about all that kind of fun stuff, because people want to know. People want to know of what the hell's going on. I don't know why you want to know, but we'll talk about it. So don't worry about that. So that's what we'll go and do from there. With that being said, we will bring in some professional broadcasters for them to tell you what the hell is going on inside of this world of ours, because that's going to be important. Remember, today is Wednesday. So it is Wow Day. It is Whip 'em Out Day. So that's what you get to do. It's Whip 'em Out Wednesday. It's Hump Day to some. It's whatever day. It's the midpoint. It's the meat of the sandwich point of the week. It's that midpoint that you just don't know what the hell you're going to do next. Listen, we're already 2 days in. This is the middle point, third day. We're starting it off. We're going to go and have some fun today. We're not going to let things get us down. We're going to have some fun. We're going to be excited about life, and we're going to move forward, because that's the things that are going to be important. Listen, I don't live for the Friday. I live for every day that we get to hang out, because I think it's so important for us to be able to do so. So with that being said, this is how we're going to get into some news. We're not going to wait a moment. We're not going to wait 2 moments. We're going to do it right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Vice President Harris will attend the funeral of Tyre Nichols in Memphis today. Mark Mayfield with more.
Nichols was beaten to death by Memphis police officers earlier this month, and footage of what happened was released last week. The White House says the vice president had a phone call with Nichols' mother and stepfather and expressed her condolences. The beating has renewed calls for Congress to step in and pass sweeping police reform. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is running for president. Fox News confirmed on Tuesday that Haley will formally declare her 2024 bid for the White House at an event in Charleston on February 15th. Haley served as United Nations ambassador during former President Donald Trump's administration and will compete against him for the GOP nomination. The public health emergency declaration for monkeypox is over. Trey Thomas reports.
The Centers for Disease Control reports the number of new daily cases is dropping drastically, hovering in the single digits compared to the 450 new cases a day in August. The U.S. has led the world in the number of cases over the last year. More than 30,000 Americans were diagnosed with monkeypox during the outbreak, 23 of whom died. I'm Trey Thomas.
General Motors says hourly workers will receive record profit-sharing checks of up to nearly $13,000. GM pays employees $1,000 for every $1 billion in North American pre-tax profits. The checks will go out February 24th. 2 Emperor Tamarin monkeys have been found safe after they went missing from the Dallas Zoo. On Tuesday, authorities followed a tip to an abandoned house south of Dallas where they found the monkeys inside a closet. The animals have been returned to the zoo and will be evaluated by staff. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. A radioactive capsule that went missing in Australia last week has been found. Thousands of schools in England and Wales are closed because of a teacher's strike over pay. South Korea and the US are planning to step up joint military exercises to counter missile threats from North Korea. And China's trying to put a stop to a plunge in property prices that's undermining hopes of an economic recovery for the country.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
President Biden was in New York putting nearly $300 million towards the Gateway project after a decade of stalled construction. It will fund the early stage to build 2 passenger rail tunnels under the Hudson River, connecting New York and New Jersey to the entire Northeast region.
This project is critical to transforming the Northeast Corridor, increasing speeds, capacity, reliability, and safety.
The current tunnels are more than a century old and were devastated by Hurricane Sandy. Roughly 2,200 trains carrying more than 200,000 riders travel through the tunnels daily. New tunnels won't be complete until at least 2035, and it will take another 3 years to rehabilitate the original ones. The community of Monterey Park, California is healing from the deadly mass shooting that happened just over a week ago. Monterey Park Mayor Jose Sanchez says the city will not be defined by this tragedy.
It'll be defined by a lot of the things that are currently happening, the closeness that this tragedy has brought our community.
Sanchez believes in the resiliency of Monterey Park and says the city will come out of this even stronger. Lunar New Year celebrations were abruptly put to an end after a gunman entered a dance studio and opened fire, killing 11 people. Dr. Phil is ending its run on daytime TV after 21 seasons. Dr. Phil McGraw's decided to end the show at the close of its current season this spring.
I feel like I'm picking low-hanging fruit here.
The show airs Monday through Friday and averages roughly 2 million viewers per episode, making it CBS's highest-rated daytime talk show.
You can put a lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig.
In announcing the decision, Dr. Phil told fans he'd been blessed to work on the show for over 25 years, helping thousands of guests and millions of viewers with their problems.
How's that working for you?
He promised that even though he's moving on from daytime television, there's still a lot he wants to do.
If there is somebody in this audience who doesn't think this is wrong, then somewhere there is a village missing their idiot.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
What is dedication? I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy. And I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You can say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you. Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Okay, there you go. 18 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this Whip 'em Out Wednesday. Yep, that's exactly what I like to call this thing. Yes, heavily influenced by the old style show of Opie and Anthony from many, many, many moons ago. Just in case if you're wondering, yes, I do acknowledge the people that I'm inspired by. Yes, I will say inspiration. All I needed was some inspiration before I did somebody some harm. Hold on, that's a song. Let's disregard that. Okay, so let's move forward and talk about the shit list, about what exactly is going on, because listen, we need to talk, we need to move, we need to groove, and we need to talk about the things that are going on. I guess before I start getting into the things that are going on, let me tell you a quick thing. Let me pop this up real quick. Let me tell you about this. The Safety Differently workshop that's taking place March 6th through the 9th. And the reason that I'm mentioning this right now is because yesterday, if you went to safetyfm.io and we're trying to get tickets, we had a momentary glitch inside of the system. Yes, there was a glitch inside of the system. But there are tickets available. People were freaking out, and I'm not joking. I have several emails of people freaking thinking that it was sold out. It's not sold out yet. I mean, I will tell you, it is close, but we're not there at that particular moment. But there are tickets in certain areas that are are on the verge of no longer being available. So just for FYI purposes. But yes, the system is up and running properly again. Was able to get some of that functionality stuff done last night. So things are good. But safetyfm.io for the Safety Differently workshop that's available March the 6th through the 9th, Santa Fe, New Mexico. It will be hosted by Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Mark Yeston, Bob Edwards, and yours truly. Love to see you there. All taking place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So be there. You're not the B squared because that's an ALF reference from many, many moons ago. But there you go. That's what's going on. So things are good. SafetyFM.io. Go there. Get your tickets if you're interested in being there. Would love to see you. And we can go from there. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of the world. Should I talk about this? If you're in Orlando today, there is a truck safety conference that's going on at the Rosen Shingle Creek. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I'll reference this. I'm not speaking at the event, and that's perfectly fine. No problem there. But I'll be hanging out there today. I'll be going by. I'm not broadcasting. I'm not doing anything. I am going as a normal attendee. Yes, I know. I'm going as a normal attendee. I'll be hanging out there. Love to see you as I'm doing. I think it's between 12 and 4 today, if I have it correctly. Rosen Shingle Creek. If you're in Orlando, love to see you if you're out and about. Because, listen, I love me some transportation industry. There is no doubt about that. So hanging out today, just FYI purposes. I normally don't say when I'm just kind of, hanging out and doing stuff. But, hey, I love running into peeps and talking a little bit about some of the stuff that's going on in the lovely transportation industry. So if you're out and about today and you're in Orlando and you're there, would love to see you. Anyway, so let's talk about the shit list because that's going to be important. At least one thing Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos can agree on is they're big fans of HBO, The Last of Us. Bezos tweeted on Tuesday, episode 3 of The Last of Us is unbelievably good storytelling. I am in awe of Nick Offerman's performance. Incredible. Musk replied, great game. Great show. So there you go. A lot of people loving the show. I still have not watched it. I know what it is because I have seen the preview, but I'm just not big into the end of the world thing. That's just me. But hey, maybe I need to take a look-see at the show and, be sold differently on what is going on because apparently some people really tend to love this. And not because, and I always tell people, just because something popular does not necessarily mean that it's good.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, earlier this month, a family of 4 miraculously survived a crash after a vehicle fell 250 feet off of a cliff at the Pacific Coast Highway just south of San Francisco. An early investigation suggested that the driver and the father of the family intentionally drove off the road. Now the driver, 41-year-old Dramash Patel, has been formally charged with 3 counts of attempted murder. NBC News reports that his wife has not yet been interviewed by authorities, but told first responders that the crash was no accident. Patel was moved to jail last week. Remember, if you remember this story vaguely, this was the story that people were trying to say that it was the Tesla that was in self-driving mode and moved control and did this. I mean, I'm always amazed on, when you don't have the full story and people start changing the shit that's going on, but that's going to be one of those occasions there. Okay, if you're earning less than $30,000 a year, well, I got some stuff for you. You're less likely to hold down a relationship, and a new study finds. I know, terrible thing to say. Making less than $29,878 in the average deal breaker amount when it comes to picking a mate. Likewise, having more than $28,076 in debt would be enough to call it quits. It gets worse. More than 1/4 of respondents said that they only talked about their finances after getting married. Listen. If you're going to talk about getting married to someone, you better be showing me some scores. You better be showing me some stuff going on. And some people are going to go, well, hold on. I thought you listened to the Dave Ramsey stuff and nothing about credit scores. That's exactly the trick. 0 should be the score. What? Yeah, you heard me correctly, as I did say that. But anyways, if you're going to get married, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, make sure that you know what kind of financial trouble they're in. Not saying that the finances play a factor into it, but hey, it could be an uphill battle if you get my gig, if you understand what I'm saying there. Anyway, so listen to this. It gets worse. More than 1/4 of respondents said they only talked about it after they got married, and this was not with a counselor. So I want to make sure that we know this. Anyways, Boeing has shipped its last 747 jet, and it's headed to a cargo carrier called Atlas Air. In the total, the company built 1,574 of its iconic plane model, which has served as the shell of the Air Force One and was used to fly around the space shuttle when it wasn't in space. Yeah, a good idea. It's a good idea, not to fly a plane into space because it can't probably handle it. Anyway, so I have to share this today, and I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, but it needs to be talked about. And I don't know how to put it, but we'll talk about this. Here's now Netflix plans to crack down on your password sharing schemes. Any device using a platform that is not connected to the same Wi-Fi as the main account holder will be prompted to log in again. If you sign in away from your home base, your device will be at risk of getting locked out. However, when traveling, you can request a 7-day temporary password or passcode. Netflix sees this as the only way to grow the market share in North America, where the widespread password sharing is most common. Listen, I don't know how it works for you, but if you hang out in hotels often, which I hope you don't have to go through that, but if you do, most TVs in hotels nowadays have the option of you putting your password into it if you have like an account with any of the streaming services. And it says that it clears it out after X amount of time. Now, I have been to several places that has not been the case, where somebody else's streaming stuff has actually been loggy-oggied in. And what I do to be a jerk from time to time, which I won't be able to do anymore, is I'll change their profile picture just for them to know that, hey, something's not right. But I've done it on several occasions. I know, terrible thing to do. But, hey, just want you to know that your stuff is left wide open. And maybe for some people, that's considered a good thing.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's get into the charts real quick. Top 5 fiction and nonfiction books currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. It goes something like this. In the fiction category, coming in at numero 5 is Lessons in Chemistry. At number 4, Verity. At number 3, The Cabinet of Dr. Lang. At number 2, It Ends With Us. At number 1, It Starts With Us. I'm going to tell you, if you're Colleen Hoover, you're making some dough, hopefully, with all the books that you have in the top 5. Okay, going into the nonfiction category, it goes something like this. I'm Glad My Mom Died. At number 5. At number 4, The Body Keeps a Score. At number 3, The Nazi Conspiracy. At number 2, The Light We Carry. And at the number 1 spot, Spare. Prince Harry. Yes, that's the number 1 book. I can't believe that I said who the author was because I normally don't say those. But there you go. That's what's going on that side of the quadrant. So let's do this real quick. Let's bring some John Smalls inside of here and let him tell you what the hell's going on with the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, February 1st, 2023. Equity markets reversed course Tuesday and closed higher for the day, ending January on an up note. The S&P 500 gained almost 1.5% at the end of the day, on signs the earnings season is better than expected. The caveat is the market action is still below significant resistance and the outlook for earnings is deteriorating. In this light, the next big move in the market is more likely to be down than up, and there are more risks than one to be wary of. Today brings another FOMC policy statement, and it could be one for the history books. The market is expecting the FOMC to slow the pace of hikes and indicate the peak of inflation has passed, but it might be disappointed. The latest inflation data confirms a peak was hit, but give little indication that inflation is truly subsiding in a way that is sustainable. What this means is the FOMC needs to make the market believe interest rates will stay high enough for long enough to ensure that happens. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information. The Dow added about 368 points, mostly thanks to the late rally as earning reports continue to report close to, let's say, within the range of 34,086 points. The S&P added about 58 points to close at 4,076, and the NASDAQ added about 190 points to close at 11,584. West Texas Intermediate closed at $79 a barrel. Brent crude closed at $85. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.50 on Tuesday. Bitcoin Bitcoin was up to close to about $300 on Tuesday, trading just over $23,100. There was more than 3,550 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Tuesday, and more than 1,760 cancellations, and that is no joke. An ice storm from across the country upended travel plans for many. So let's talk about the next portion. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $653 million jackpot or a $350.5 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you can do so. Today's the day to do it. Anyways, let's talk about some other news before we get into the main story. Florida parents can cash in college savings starting today. Natalie Rodriguez has more.
Florida's prepaid college tuition annual open enrollment period starts today and runs through April. Prices are the same as a year ago, with the cheapest plan for a newborn now costing $45 monthly for a one-year university plan. A full four-year university tuition plan for a newborn starts at $181 per month. Any child in the Sunshine State from newborn through 11th grade can take part in the program. Natalie Rodriguez, Miami.
So there you go. You know, early college tuition at today's pricing always kind of helps out when you start taking a look-see at that kind of stuff. That is for sure. Take a listen to this real quick. Cities in counties around Denver metro area are performing the annual point-in-time count, tallying and talking to people who are homeless. VA Secretary Dennis McDonald came out to participate and says that he's impressed by the progress that Colorado is making in reducing homelessness for veterans.
We've seen a 31% decrease in homeless vets here in Denver since 2020.
So Dennis went as far as saying that it is visiting Denver to participate on the count for the first time, largely in part because of the success of Colorado is having. The 31% reduction in veterans homelessness was over the past year has been nearly 3 times the national average of 11%. Dennis also says that the vouchers are being used to develop by the Department of Housing and Urban Development to find sufficient housing for those in needs. The U.S. Veteran Affairs Secretary also wanted to say that the VA is working with everyone involved to continue the reduction of veteran homelessness.
Reaching out not just to our vets, but we're reaching out to our partners and to landlords to make sure that they know that when they make a deal with us to house veterans, this has the full backing of Uncle Sam. Not only that they're doing the right thing by those vets.
Okay, so it's good stuff coming out of there. That is for sure. Anyways, currently 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so we're close enough to do that thing that we get to do during this time.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so we talk about this all the time. We have conversations about this all the time. And listen, I don't ever know how to talk about this, but hey, it is a question that comes in pretty often. And I was kind of going through some stuff yesterday and looking at some of the questions that come in from people that listen to the show, and I never know how to respond to some of these. But somebody asked us, what is the best form of safety that a work environment should practice? And I looked and I gathered information and I looked around and I said, let's do some of this. Let's talk about this as part of our main story today, because I thought it would be kind of important. Because there's so many different things and aspects to take a look at that sometimes you go through it and you go, what makes the most logical sense? So in a work where work environments can often be hazardous, this is stuff that we have to think about. It is essential to prioritize safety to ensure of the well-being for employees. I mean, that was just kind of logical sense stuff as we talk about it. But the best form of safety that works in an environment should be comprehensive. Does that make sense? It has to be multi-layered approach that incorporates various strategies to mitigate risk and prevention of accidents. Now, when I start talking about prevention of accidents, a lot of people get confused because I'm not saying that you're going to stop all accidents. I'm saying that you are going to put safeguards in place to assist for things not to be fatal. That's what we're looking for here. I would rather have an accident than a fatal event. Think about this. So I will tell you, as I was looking at this, I was reading some Philip K. Dick stuff. So just as in some of the stories from Philip K. Dick, where reality and perception are often intertwined, and the idea of safety in the workplace must also be viewed in a form of multiple perspectives. That was one of those things that kind of like shot out into my head as I was going through it, because I was like, I'm reading this book and I'm like, hold on, there's such large intertwined things that happens in his books. I was like, maybe we need to take a look at some of these things differently as well. And it really is weird depending on where you stand, because if you're an employee or an employer, how do you look at it? So employers must not only comply with the legal regulations, but also create a culture. Yes, I did say that word, of safety that encourages employees to take an active role in protecting themselves and their colleagues. And when we start getting into this role of safety culture, I use that word even though there is some, perceptions there that we need to talk about. Because if you have a work culture that embodies safety, the word safety culture is non-existent. You don't have a separate culture for safety inside of your organization. It is just part of the culture of work. Does that make sense? I hope it does, as we are talking about it. So if we would bullet point this out and said, okay, what would be the key strategies that we could talk about? This would be the approach that should involve the following elements. And I would give it to you almost in this bullet point. Now, keep in mind, we have probably about 5 minutes or so, or really as long as I want to go here on this show, to talk about this. But this is not me speaking for an hour or two or kind of laying out a plan. This is just some quick bullet points to be able to answer this question. So that's the part you have to think about. So if I went with number one, risk assessment, a thorough analysis of work environment to identify potential hazards and assess the level of risk associated with each. This process should be ongoing, and new risk should be immediately addressed. Now listen, if you kind of hang out here and take a listen to the different shows on Safety FM, you know that sometimes when we talk about risk assessments, we are talking about a level of a learning team. Think about it. People that are inside of the work environment will understand better what needs to go on. Think about it. So risk assessment, we can use that word, knowing between you and me that we're really talking about a learning team. If we had to go with the number two here, employee training, regular training and education for employees on safe work practices. Seriously, including proper use of equipment and handling of hazardous materials. Now, I want you to think about this, though. As you are laying this out, it's not a training from some corporate god. Yeah, I did say corporate god that understands everything. It's training that's developed by the employee/team members to have a better understanding of this. The other portion to think about it, I would say bullet point number 3 is proper equipment and tools. Providing the team with the right equipment and tools to perform the job safely. Yes, I did say the word safely because I said that we really need to change this. Don't worry, we're not changing our name to Safely FM. And ensuring that they are well maintained and regularly inspected. Because listen, we sometimes make tools up to get them to work because we don't have what we need. But making those tools can also lead to some other things. Could be dangers, could be other things that we don't expect, but also could lead to actually mass production of something that we might actually need. If I had to give you a number 4, emergency preparedness, having a well-designed emergency response plan in place. I can't emphasize how important this is. And the portion that I say this is because if you ever have to have an emergency response where you have to get people from the outside involved, they need to really have a good understanding on how the layout of the land works. So I would recommend strongly regularly conducting drills to ensure that the team members know what to do in an event of an emergency. Test and test often. Yeah, it's a simulation. I mean, you're simulating an emergency. It's really what it boils down to. What else? At number 5, if I'm 5 bullet pointing it, it would be communication and collaboration. Encouraging open communication between the team members and the leadership to share concerns and ideas of improving safety in the workplace. You would be amazed on how that seems to be such a difficult task for some, but so easy to mention. So let's wrap it up real quick. The best form of safety in the workplace is a holistic approach. It really is. It recognizes the importance of compliance with regulation, team member training, proper equipment, emergency preparedness, and communication and collaboration. By taking this multi-layered approach that I try to describe in like 5 minutes, it sounds like, multi-layered approach to safety, employers, team members, leadership can create a safe and secure work environment for their team and minimize the risk of incidents. Not abolish them, but you're minimizing because you have safeguards in place. And that's the part to think about. Listen, you can tie it all in together as we are talking, but how would you change that work environment? How would you change that workplace if given the opportunity? So that is something for sure to think about as we are hanging out on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Look through your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
chance, but I could never see me lose. Yeah, I've been checking out your moves. You a slip inside, but I can always catch your groove. But what's the use? Why we so dark? I like this.
Oh, yes, hanging out in the morning time. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. Still Rated R Safety Show. Hour numero uno of the Jay Allen of the Morning Show. Yeah, that sucker runs for 3 hours, depending on where you hang out. You hear this little jammy-yammy over here? Yeah, this is Slip and Slide by Josho. Yeah, not a joke when I say that. It's not Josh, it's Josho. Song is readily available on Spotify and iTunes. You can give it a little streamer-eamer. You know, it's always good to start off the morning with a little slip and slide action as you're taking a listen. I did that sound twice now. If you have headphones on, if you want to slap me, I understand. I get it. I should not be making popping noises because it's terrible for you. Okay, so thanks for Josho for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. And we will get you moving and grooving right now. Okay, so let's do this. I like that. For some reason, it's different enough that I like it. So there you go. I don't know. Maybe we'll go a little bit longer here towards the end for you to take a longer listen to what is going on, because, you know, it's important to do that. Anyways, let me talk to you real quick. Yeah, let me talk to you. Yeah. Okay. If you're in the know, you know where the hell that came from. So thank you, L.A. Knight. So there you go. So anyways, let's talk about it. Let's talk about possibly. Matter of fact, no, it's not possibly. This is the most important thing that I'll ever tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress prevention and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org, or text the word TALK to 988 or call 988. That will get everything going for you in regards of being able to talk to someone about this. Listen, time sometime is not easy. Things in life are not well all the time. And it is okay not to be okay. But we all need someone to talk to from time to time. And I get it. And if you're looking for someone to talk to, looking for someone to help you, 988lifeline.org is the website. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, you can get in contact with them, 988, calling them, or 988 by texting them the word TALK. So there you go. Some things to think about. Before you make your next move, make sure that you have reached out to them to have a conversación, because those things are going to be important. I'm being serious as I say it, not a joke, always serious business as we are talking. Anyways, let's get into some information here about some things that are going on inside of the world. It's February 1st, so here's you first heartwarming Valentine's Day story. The San Antonio Zoo is offering the chance to name a cockroach after your ex. We talked about this earlier this week, but take a listen because I want to go into a little bit further detail. A special Valentine's Day promotion. The zoo says that for $10, they'll let you name a cockroach after your not-so-special someone and feed it to an animal. A pretty strong indicator that you're no longer interested, or it might even be, a strong indicator that you are. The annual Cry Me a Cockroach fundraiser supports securing a future for wildlife in Texas and around the world. If naming a cockroach after your former loved one is a little bit too much, you can also choose a vegetable for $5 or a rodent for $25 instead. You can go to sasu.org. Yep. So for my ex, a vegetable is definitely more appropriate. So there you go. This totally explains why there are so many rats named after Sheldon Primus these days. I mean, it all makes sense to me. I get it. So there you go. Some information that's going on. By the way, talking about Sheldon Primus, today, if you take a listen to the Safety Consultant podcast, It is the newest episodes that I had the honor of being on. It is dropping today. Thanks for Sheldon for having me on the show. So you can take a listen to what the hell's going on there, and then you let us know what you think. Is it too much? Was it good enough? Not good enough? And all that kind of fun stuff, because those things are important. Anyways, we are so close to 50 minutes past the top of the hour that I think that we need to get you motivated. So let's go ahead and do that right now by bringing in some John Smalls.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Taylor. Michael Jordan said, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying." Excellent quote. I was visiting recently with a young person that didn't realize Michael Jordan was a basketball player. Now, I'm going to admit, I'm not a sports guy, but come on, I thought everybody knew Michael Jordan, and I thought they knew him because of the NBA. This young man referred to him as the shoe guy. Imagine that. His Air Jordans from Nike have eclipsed his basketball career, which is the whole reason for the shoes in the first place. So his quote about not liking failure is pretty fitting. He's done pretty well for himself, and kids, he used to be a pretty good basketball player too. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. One thing that we see very specifically with aging is a loss of physical function, and that's more geared towards power. In fact, the rate of loss of muscle mass as you age is about 0.5 to 1% per year. Loss of muscle strength is double to triple that. Loss of muscle power is triple that. Reason being loss of speed. If we look at world records across the sports in all age groups, what you will see is in strength sports like powerlifting, the world record through age doesn't go down that much. However, the world record in speed and jumping sports drops tremendously as we go up in age groups. The atrophy, or reduction in size of muscle fibers, is at the core of the problem with loss of muscles as people reach older years. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show. Always replicated, but never duplicated. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 52 minutes past the top of the hour, so we got little time left. If you want to, at the top of the hour, you can come over to radiobig.fm if you're not hanging out over there already. We are hanging out on iHeartRadio, the streaming side of the house, so we'd love to see you over there if you're so inclined to do so. Come out, hang out. We are streaming 24/7 with all our different radio hosts on that side, or you can keep it locked on Safety FM, where you can listen to all of the things that are going on inside of the world of safety that you might care about. That is for sure. Anyways, a Central California police officer is dead after he was shot by an admitted gang member who was released earlier from prison. Selma Police Chief Rudy Alcarez says that the officer responded to a call about a prowler on late Tuesday.
As our officer exited his patrol vehicle and made contact with the suspect shot him several times and then fled the area.
The suspect was a felon who violated parole. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison last March, but was released early in September. Fresno County Sheriff's Detective found that the suspect took him into custody last night. A miles-long procession of law enforcement vehicles followed the white hearse through the Fresno County and on the way to the coroner's office. The officer has asked that his name not be revealed as of this time.
By one of our detectives in the area and was detained. At this point, we have located what we believe is a firearm that was used in the crime.
According to the Fresno County Sheriff John Zanoni, the suspect has a long rap sheet.
There is a gang connection to this. He was wanted by probation. He had failed to appear for a probation appointment back on January 17th, and along with his priors for possession of a firearm, being a felon, and armed robbery.
Okay, Chief Rudy Alcarez says that there's difficult loss for the department.
We didn't just lose a police officer, we lost a great human being, and that's the unfortunate part. Because at the end of the day, he's one of our community members.
There is no words to even put this together in regards of what's going on there. That is for sure. Any loss of life is terrible. Take a listen to this. Cops are investigating after a teenage boy was stabbed in the stomach on Tuesday afternoon in the Bronx. Paul DeCastro has more.
16-year-old was attacked by 5 people around 2:30 in the Kingsbridge Heights section near West 195th Street and Jerome Avenue. The boy was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The suspects ran off and no arrests have been made. Paul DeCastro, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Paul, for that information right there. 2 men are behind bars on suspicion of stealing and using credit cards belonging to flood victims near Santa Paula. More from Daniel Martindale.
Abandoned her car after getting trapped in mud and rising water in mid-January. She left behind several personal items, including her credit cards. The next day, the woman's bank told her the credit cards had been used to buy $1,800 worth of items at a nearby business. Police tracked down and arrested a 45-year-old man from Fillmore and a 26-year-old man from Santa Paula on suspicion of identity theft and other charges. I'm Daniel Martindale.
What craziness is this in that particular regards of doing that? It's like, oh, yeah, you're already going through a hard time. Let me go ahead and steal your cards and see what we can come up with. What a weird world we live in sometimes. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2021, Wisdom the albatross hatches a chick at the Midway Atoll in National Wildlife Refuge. The egg was laid somewhere between the last few days of November of 2020, and the birth is noteworthy because it's a 70-year-old. Wisdom is the world's oldest known bird. So there you go. That happened back in 2021. If you're looking at some birthdays that are going on today, let's talk about a few. Today, Harry Styles turns 29. Ronda Rousey turns 36. Lauren Conrad turns 37. And Big Boy, he turns 48 today. So there you go. That's the birthdays that are going on today. And then in some other birthdays of people that are no longer with us, it would have been Lisa Maurice Presley's birthday today, Brandon Lee, and Rick James. So there you go. Some birthdays going on right there. Also, if you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have quite a few of those for you. It's National Girls and Women's Sport Day, National Singing Day, World Jihad Day, National Freedom Day, Federal Territory Day, Robinson Crusoe Day, National Dark Chocolate Day, Spunky Old Broads Day, National Serpent Day, National Baked Alaska Day, Decorating with Candy Day, and Car Insurance Day. Hold on. Nobody should be celebrating car insurance. Let's just put it to you that way. So there you go. That's some days to celebrate. Also, if you're looking for a random joke for today, I have one of those for you if you need it. The last day of the year will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I guess we'll be waltzing on 2024. So think about that. Yeah, it's 12, 31, 23. You get it? So there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What silly thing did you do that caused someone else to get all upset? Oh, there's so many things to list in my lifetime that it would be hard to say them all, especially on this show. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. 45% of moms say no to letting their daughter under the age of 10 to do this. What is it? Get their nails done. Yes, get their nails done. Now, when they say get their nails done, does that mean like the mom doing them or taking them somewhere to do it? It's an interesting question because my youngest, definitely way under the age of 10, just recently got her nails done, but her mom did them for her. But still, it's still something that occurred. Anyways, let's not get too much into the weeds. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what the hell we have going on and being the best part of Radio Big and Safety FM, because without you, we couldn't do what we do around here. It just would make no sense in doing so. So thank you for always being the best part, because we couldn't do it without you. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. When someone tells you that you cannot do something, consider that they are only telling you what they can't do. Think about it. No limitations, my friends. No limitations. Anyways, thank you for hanging out. Love to see you at the top of the hour at RadioBig.fm. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
I'm not built to fight like I'm a